Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, it is so good to be back with you. Well, a lot of you have been writing, said, Psychic Bob, you didn't put out a video last night. Please forgive me. As I've been telling you guys, this last few days has been really busy for me. So it ended up being later than I planned, and I apologize. I didn't get out UFO Friday, but not to worry. We're going to go out on Sunday. Maybe we'll see if there are any UFOs. And I have some alien races. We'll talk about that on Sunday. So we'll kind of have UFO Friday on Sunday. Is that okay? Will you forgive me? I hope so. You guys are so wonderful. Thanks for being here, and thanks for always your concern. I just got so late. It was hard to get a video out sometimes. It's like the heart is willing, but the body is weak. So anyways, I'm trying to work on balancing energy. And, it had me thinking, I'm just going to show you. This is one of my new pendants I got. Check a look at this. This is a chalice. It's got some glare. It's a Wiccan chalice. It has a pentacle on it. Can you see? There it is. My camera's focusing. And this is really great because I love the chalice because it represents the goddess. It represents offering of our life, offering of the self. It's just so interesting because I've also been, as part of my balancing my own energies, reading a wonderful classic book called the Tao Te Ching. This is by Lao Tzu. This is like the Bible of Taoism. And for any of you who study Wicca, you should definitely explore this. Taoism and Wicca share a lot in common. This is just a beautiful book. And I was going to read you a passage which is kind of like our topic tonight, like talking about channeling and chalices and cups and bowls. Listen to this. This is in it's chapter 4 of the Tao Te Ching. And it says, the Tao is like an empty bowl, which in being used can never be filled up. Fathomless, it seems to be the origin of all things. It blunts all sharp edges. It unties all tangles. It harmonizes all lights. It unites the world into one whole, hidden in the deeps, yet it seems to exist forever. I do not know whose child it is. It seems to be the common ancestor of all, the father of all things. Isn't that beautiful? You see, the Tao is the cosmos, the divine power that flows through all things. A modern term you might want to use is the Force. You could easily substitute the word Tao for the Force. So that's just something. You might want to check this out. Great book of mysticism. We'll talk more about this in the coming days. I think there's a lot here. But it got me thinking, as I was putting on my pendant today, like how it says that it goes the depths, and then it's like being used can never be used up. This is how I feel about channeling, because when I channel, it's like I'm an open vessel, and all of the knowledge of the spirit world comes in. And I feel very blessed. And that power is never used up because it's infinite. It comes from a higher source. So today I just invite all of you, you might want to meditate on the symbol of the chalice as something that may help you spiritually. And get a copy of the Tao Te Ching. This is a little one. It's by Shambhala Classics. It's called Shambhala Pocket Classics. Any of you study Eastern mysticism, Shambhala they're famous for their miniature books. And on the back you can see it says Shambhala there. And that's a little symbol of the flaming dory. So definitely check it out. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Saturday Night Seance. Psychic Bob has had a really crazy week, but whenever I get to gather with you guys, it's like everything comes into focus. So glad you're here. Now, I want to say, first of all, welcome to all the new people as well. We've had a lot of new subscribers, and welcome to Spirit Channel. This is our weekly tradition. We gather and have a little seance, and this comes out of the old spiritualist church tradition where I was trained as a medium. And we used to gather at mediums' houses each week, and we'd sit in a little circle, and the mediums would go into trance, and spirits would come through them. So, I follow that tradition. As a medium, I do trance channeling, which is when spirit consciousnesses overshadow me and they take temporary control of my body. Don't worry, it's not painful. It may look a little strange, but it's, for me, a very peaceful experience because that illumination comes from within. You know, it's like the spirit light just pours into you and lights everything up, and it's like, it's an amazing experience. And many of you who've been here know that I always say how much I love to channel. So we're going to have some channeling tonight, and we'll see what the spirit people have. So if you were here in my house, which you are virtually, I'd say pull up your chairs in a little circle, and let's have a little seance. I'm going to settle down here and go into trance, okay? So I invite you just to, you know, open your hearts and be receptive and invite the spirit people to join us. All right, well, let me turn off the lights here, and we're going to take it down, and I'll see you when I get back. Oh, this is Fletcher here. Give us just a moment while we get control of the medium's vibration. Oh, I tell you, lots of soul glow out there tonight. Welcome. We're so honored to have the chance here to come and speak with you. Our medium's so generous to allow us to use his body. My name's Fletcher, and I'll be the gatekeeper for this medium's energy tonight. We kind of protect the body and oversee him and make sure that nothing, you know, dangerous happens to him. But it looks like there's a lot of people out there tonight who just got, as we say, the soul glow going on. And that means that you're attuned to our world. And when you're attuned to our world, certainly we're attuned to your world. This is Fletcher. I'll be stepping from the body. Over and out. Yes, Fletcher, I do believe we make contact. Yes. The vibration is stabilized. It's always a treat for us to come over and to visit with each of you. In the earthly life, there are a lot of challenges that you face. When you're in the body, you're limited in your perceptions. Those of us who come from the spirit world, we are not limited in the way that you are limited. We understand all things in a clarity that escapes and eludes you. Do not feel bad. It is meant to be this way in the earth realm. If you had all knowledge of our world, of the spirit world, you would be less inclined to continue on your journeys. In our world, it is a realm of light and of peace. Over here, there is no suffering, unless you choose to have suffering. Let me explain that. As I have taught you in previous classes, there are different dimensions within this realm. There are lower dimensions and higher dimensions, and in fact the universe is infinite in its dimensional capacity. Some people say there are 5 dimensions or 7, but the truth is I have discovered over here that it extends into millions and millions of dimensions. Each person will attain the dimension to which they are most comfortable. For example, if you're a person of an artistic nature, and you've devoted your life to doing beautiful artworks and inspiring people, when you return to the spirit world, you will be surrounded by people that appreciate art and have an artistic nature and temperament. A great and powerful artist would not find themselves arriving into a realm of the spirit world where they would be surrounded by drug addicts and murderers. No, 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 this would not happen. You see, your vibration is consistent whether you live or whether you die. Death only changes you from the physical reality into the spiritual reality. But while you are on the earth, you could even think of the earth as a dimension of the spirit world. It is one of the most dense vibrations, and this accounts for why your world is full of darkness and why your world has so much strife and struggle. The souls that entered into your earth realm are tasked with the job, the work of the spirit. Every soul that comes into the earth is sent into the earth that they might grow and awaken and grow themselves to be more in harmony with divine reality. And you may say, well, dear Alfred, what is divine reality? Divine reality is the mind of infinite intelligence. Last week I spoke to you about the reality of infinite intelligence, and I wish to expand upon this a bit more this week, for this is a topic that cannot be easily covered in a short session. Infinite intelligence governs the spirit world. It is, if you would, for a better term, we call it God. But God is really a human creation, a word that is limited. Some people have individual names for God. They will say, he is Rama, he is Jehovah, he is, name your God, Krishna. These are all true names of God, and they reflect the concept of infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence expands itself infinitely, and wherever there is life in the cosmos, there is infinite intelligence. In fact, all of the cosmos is an expansion of that infinite intelligence. Many of your scientists speak of the Big Bang, that in the beginning that there was an explosion and that the universe was created from this outward explosion of mass. This is true, absolutely, yes. There was a Big Bang and there was an explosion and the universe came into being. But it was the will of infinite intelligence that set that process in order. Infinite intelligence allowed that process to begin, you see. All things that exist within the mind of infinite intelligence. If you were to walk down a street and you see a small little insect, perhaps a little ant or a beetle crawling along the sidewalk on the pavement, you might say, oh, look at that small little creature. Have you paused to look at it and realize that it has a mind, a consciousness, that it has its own will? Ants travel and create and gather food and build their mounds. You see, beetles fly and know their plan of life and seek out companions. Everything that is alive is an expression of infinite intelligence. In the spirit world, all the life that exists upon your earth comes to our world and is, in a sense, recreated, or should I say not recreated, this is not the word, it is renewed and made whole. Just as humans who come here are renewed and made whole. Everything in the material world has the appearance of decay. You may see a beautiful shining new car and you say, I want to buy that automobile. And you buy that automobile, but where will that car be in 10, 15 years from now? Unless you're buying a collector's classic, most likely your car in 15 years will be rusted, your engine will be worn away, the interior of the car will have much wear, and your car will not be that car that you admired 10 or 15 years prior. This is a sign of the decay of the material world. Even if you were to take very good care of your car, ultimately it would still decay. You would have to replace the tires, the brakes decay. Everything in your world is subject to decay. This is because your world is simply a temporary creation of infinite intelligence. When infinite intelligence created the earth, the idea was to create a temporary separation from the divine. How can one appreciate the divine unless one goes away from the divine? It is kind of like a relationship. For example, there are many of you who are with a partner, you're in love, or you're married, or you're dating and about to be married. And some of you have had these momentary thoughts like perhaps I should take a break from my relationship. Maybe I should walk away. Maybe the timing's not right. Maybe there's trouble in the relationship. But you do not see clearly until you have that break from your relationship. And when you step away from that relationship, suddenly it becomes very clear the good and the bad. And this is how it is in our world. When you leave our world, the realm of light and clarity of mind, you enter into a different place where it allows you to have a different perspective. Your concepts of God or infinite intelligence on the earth are very different than the way you perceive infinite intelligence here in our world. Many of you have come into the earth and you've said, I don't even know if there's a God, it seems so vague. It is that the veil has been placed over you, and when the veil is placed over you, your mind becomes blank. It is as if all the memory and the knowledge is erased. But the truth is, it's only erased from your physical earthly mind. Remember that you are of two minds. You have the earthly mind, and then within your very body that exists the spirit soul, that spark of who you truly are. It is that spark that contains the knowledge of infinite intelligence. It might I even say not only knowledge of infinite intelligence, it contains all wisdom of all your lifetimes. It contains your appreciation and love of infinite intelligence. So the truth of the matter is that you are truly connected. For those of you who struggle, and some of you say, but Alfred, I've tried all my life to have faith. I've gone to every church that exists. I've tried every religion that exists on earth, and yet I do not have that peace of supposed what God is. Please understand, for those of you who struggle in this way, it is that a sign that your soul is much closer to infinite intelligence than it is to the earthly realm. The earthly realm has within it many concepts of God, of infinite intelligence, but all of them, even the most noble and honorable religions, fall short of the true, complete knowledge of that. Do not fault the religious leaders. It is part of the human condition, and in fact, the Godhead or infinite intelligence wishes it to be so. We would say, well, why is it that infinite intelligence would deprive us of this? Again, we must go back to our relationship, you see. Think of your own relationships. There are times when, as you've stepped away and you felt that isolation, that loneliness, it's made you question your own self deeper. It's made you discover who are you in that relationship. And so you are being tried and tested. In a sense, you have gone into exile from infinite intelligence when you entered into the earth. And so your lack of connection, your lack of knowing, your lack of, sense of connectivity is going to be lessened. But it is purposely so. So do not rail at the heavens and say, there is no God, I hate this life. No, my dears. You must look within and say, I've come from there to here. I've put myself in temporary exile in order to learn something. And what it is that you are learning, ask yourself, each of you have a mission. You've taken on various tasks. You've taken on things in order to know yourself. As you come to know yourself in this time of separation, as you come to know yourself in your exile, what you will discover is that you are wonderfully created with many talents. You are imbued with knowledge that is beyond your years. But you cannot see this nor appreciate it. Were you to remain in the spirit world, you should be greatly lacking in your appreciation of the gifts of infinite intelligence. So try to understand that God, as you may say, or infinite intelligence, as we say, is really that which is the finest and the best part of yourself. And you are part of that. Jesus used to say that we are children of God. He claimed to be the Son of God, and this is true. He is the way shower, a leader, and his light is immense in the spirit world. But know that each of you also are children of the very God, the divine. And if you have trouble understanding God as Father, for some of you have had terrible experiences with your father, and you say, I don't want any part of it. Perhaps you could consider that God could also be your mother. You see, over here, infinite intelligence takes infinite forms. God is Father, God is Mother, God can be friend. Maybe you say, I have no interest in personal relationships with parents. They've all been terrible in my life. Then let God be your friend. Let infinite intelligence come to you in the form, in the way that you can connect to. Infinite intelligence goal is to love you, but not only to love you, but to help you to know yourself. Do you know that each of you are on a mission here? As you've come into the earth, you've gathered knowledge, and not only of yourself, but knowledge that you will take back and share with infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence by nature is always expanding and never still. As the cosmos expands, so does the knowledge of infinite intelligence. There is no end to the learning. Even God has more to learn. Now, for some of you, this will be a shock. You'll say, but God knows all things. It is true that the divine knows all things, but even the divine seeks the knowledge to quest. The divine has need for a relationship with you. And this is why I say to each of you, find the form of God, if you will, that you can relate to. Some of you will say, I see God in the dolphins that swim in the bay by my home. Then call the dolphin as your God. Some of you say that I see God as a man standing on a cliff with a spear raised. Then accept this form of God. You can, in your own mind, create your own form of God, and if you speak to it, it will answer you. For God is all forms that ever were and ever shall be. So if you struggle with God the Father, or even God the Mother, let God be what you wish to define God as. Infinite intelligence is not offended by your lack of understanding, and infinite intelligence will not be offended by your concept. Infinite intelligence is aware of your human condition, that you work with a limited human mind, but it also knows that inside of you is your spirit self, and that spirit self will bring you back home in the end. Infinite intelligence is not your enemy, but is your greatest friend that ever existed. You see, in my own life, as many of you know my story, that I was very much involved with spiritualism and eventually ceremonial magic to the conjuration of spirits. You see, but in my quest for knowledge, I became enamored with the power that I felt that came through in spiritual experiences. And seeking an even greater high, I turned, by the influence of those around me, I might say, to drugs and to alcohol. I thought that the high that they brought me would bring me closer to the spirit world, but instead it severed my cord of connection, and I ended up dying in a place of disgrace, a place of squalor, poverty, and far from my earlier stations in life. It is the mercy of infinite intelligence that when I found myself in the darker outer regions of the spirit world, I was not particularly surprised, for in my spiritualist teaching I had come to know that I would attain the level in the spirit world to which I was most comfortable. At the point of my death, I was not comfortable to be among the exalted, to be among those who would teach high truths, for I had degraded and fallen into such a state, a pitiful state, might I add, of addiction, of laziness, of self-abnegation, that I was not clean in spirit, you see. And when I arrived in the spirit world, in the darker regions, I knew that I was where I was supposed to be. In the spirit world, you will have all knowledge of who you are. The clarity of yourself becomes very apparent. Your mind is, as should I say, clear in who you are. You will not come to the spirit world and find a surprise, for anything that you attain here, you have clear knowledge of. In your earthly life, you are veiled from this knowledge, but in the spirit body, you will be able to see and know who you are exactly as you are. And so you will not have a surprise upon death, except unless you are, shall we say, one of the materialists, the atheist people. Many people on the earth are under the delusion that there is no infinite intelligence, and upon death they find themselves floating in the blackness, a space, a place of holding. And the first thing they discovered is that they are still conscious. The mind exists beyond the body. They will say to you, and many have come back and said it, I was alive in my mind, I knew who I was, I had all my memories, I could feel and sense and be, yet I did not have a physical body. It is true for these people this is a shock. And when they're gradually brought into the light, well, they do not wish to shock them, they're gradually brought. It takes many of them many months to start to heal from their lack of belief. Now, we as the spirit world do not ask you to have blind faith, but we ask you to have a heart that could receive truth. And unfortunately, in the earth today, many refuse to receive any level of truth, and they think they know more than celestial beings who have seen far more than they will ever see. So part of the spiritual world is to practice humility. Now, we don't speak of humility in the sense of being, what's the word? Earthlings say, be a doormat, meaning people walk all over you. No, humility is saying, I do not know all that there is to know, and I hope that I shall learn more as I go along. If you can say this, you have the propensity towards excelling in humility. And it is humility that will raise you to high places in our world. Be open to learning and understanding that beings throughout your life are guiding and helping you. And at times, like tonight, you may have an opportunity to meet with us in person. Some of you watching here tonight will say, how is it that a spirit can come into this earth? I know that some presence is here tonight, I do not understand it. This is an example of where you must practice humility, where you must say, I do not understand this process that is occurring. How is a spirit speaking through this body in front of us? And yet it is occurring, and you can see and hear with your own intelligence and confirm the reality of the situation. If you open to humility and say, I do not understand, then you allow us to come closer and we will help you to understand. Remember that all the universe is based upon vibration. The highest vibration is infinite intelligence. Everybody shares in that vibration to one degree or another. But if you allow yourself to consider that you do not know all things, then you can begin your progress, you can begin to grow. There are beings here who outshine the brightest of light on earth. The very sun that illuminates your physical earth is pale and dim in comparison to some of the angelic beings and ascended ones here. We all hope to attain their level. But to understand that life has gone on long before the earth existed. So there are beings who have had their own trajectory of evolution that far exceeds any limits of earth life. And so this accounts for beings that you have never seen upon your earth, yet they exist. And remember that throughout the cosmos there are other worlds that are populated by very beings who are also come from our world and are on their own journey of evolution. Respect all life, have humility, and you will have peace. And not only that, you will attain great things in your journey back to spirit. So allow your time of exile to be a time of peace. Allow your time of exile to be a time of discovery. Do not fight with those around you. Seek to understand them. And if your brother or sister along the way is walking the path of self-destruction, whether through addictions or ignorance, be that voice of light and say, let me tell you about another way to consider living upon this earth and in this life. And if you share the truth of spirit with them, they will be set on a course that will save them much misery and suffering. Fletcher's asked me to step from the medium. There's somebody else who wishes to speak. I thank you for receiving me tonight. My name is Alfred. Oh, there we go. Greetings, my dears. This is Rose. Oh, it's such a blessing to be here with all of you. Oh, no, I could not stay quiet much longer. I was so very enamored with Alfred's words tonight. I have to say that he speaks the words of truth. When I first came to the spirit world, I was looking to see a man on the throne with a beard who was sitting in judgment of me. I did not have that vision when I arrived. I said, where is God? I want to go to God right away. I have to have my judgment and get my crown. And the beings that were walking with me over here said, Rose, God is, and they used the term he did, they said, Rose, God is infinite intelligence. He's not a man, though he can take the form of a man. He is the mind that governs all reality. Well, you see, I was not quite prepared for that. I said, what are you talking about? I don't understand this. And they said, Rose, you will see God as you evolve and grow. And as I've worked on my journey, the light has dawned upon me, and that infinite intelligence shines through my mind. I can approach the being of light here, that is the beginning of the Godhead. But full connection to it even takes time here in the spirit world. The thing that I've learned is that I'm greatly loved, and it's very difficult to explain, but communion with infinite intelligence is more of a mental process than a physical process. Oh, it's true we can have the experience of standing before the light, and that is always an option for anyone here. But the degree to which you can connect with that is connected directly to your ability to receive. There are people over in the spirit world who have a bit of a fear of God. Now, there's nothing to fear, but they are slowly learning to let go of that fear. And over here, no one pushes anyone. Nobody is forced to commune with infinite intelligence. But all here feel the light and the love that comes from that being of immense love. I suppose if I were to say what is infinite intelligence, I would have to say it is a mind of love. And when we have minds of love, we are very close to that power. So I leave you today with this little thought, and I hope that it will give you some assistance. Fletcher has informed me that our medium's power is growing weak, and we do not wish to tax his organism. But I did have to come in and just bring this little message to all of you, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here with all of you tonight. The power is starting to fade, but before I go, let me just tell each of you that you are loved by infinite intelligence, and that power is within you. Look within, and you will understand, and you will have love and peace in your life. Honey, Rose. Hey, Tubies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, it's so good to be back with you, and I hope the spirit people were helpful tonight. I could tell you I felt them coming through, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like the Tao Te Ching says. It's like, you know, the source is inexhaustible. So I felt very blessed, and I'm really blessed that you're here with me. If you've enjoyed tonight's seance, you might want to pop over to my website. Check out my book. This is, if you can see it, it's called Messages from Rose. And it tells about my life as a trance channel and my work with my spirit guide, Rose. You might enjoy that. I have some other books over there as well. One of them being Psychic Bob's book of Wiccan Wisdom. You might enjoy that also. And I have a few other books. I write a lot of books, and hopefully soon we'll be having another book coming in the next few months. So definitely keep watching. You guys are the best. I am so thankful you're here, and I hope that you'll keep it here at Spirit Channel. Listen, if you want to help me out, like this video, favorite it, share it with your friends, put it on Facebook, pass it around, and hit subscribe. Be part of our channel. We'd sure love you to be here. You guys rock. I'm sending you my blessings, and thanks for being here tonight. Listen, we'll be back here tomorrow on Sunday. As I said, we're going to go outside. Hopefully it won't be a rain shower. We're going to look for UFOs and just have a day out and see what we can discover. We might talk a little bit more about the Tao Te Ching too. I'm getting a lot of wisdom out of that. Well, guys, you guys are the best. I love you. I'm so happy when I can be with you. And I hope you're having a good time here. And welcome to all the new people. If you haven't done so, hit subscribe. A lot of you watch. I've been getting people call me. They said, Bob, I love your channel. And I said, oh, what's your channel? And they said, oh, I haven't subscribed. I haven't set up a channel. Set up a channel. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. And once you hit subscribe, also hit the little bell. Because I found out the bell means give me notices when he posts a video. So you'll get updates all the time about, videos I put out. Well, guys, thanks for being here. I love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And until then, may you always blessed be.